Minimalism is often defined by the intentional pursuit of simplicity, focusing on what truly adds value while systematically removing the non-essential. For the family scapegoat, or the black sheep, this principle functions as a foundational framework for reclaiming agency. By curating your life to prioritize only the essential, you create the necessary space to disentangle your authentic self from the suffocating narratives you were forced to adopt. This is not about having less. It is about making space for more of what actually belongs to you. Based on my experience as the family scapegoat, I have identified the following 10 minimalist strategies that help me now, and which would have provided much-needed support during those difficult times. The first minimalism strategy is direct communication. It serves as a vital defense, acting as a boundary that preserves your mental health. By being straight to the point, you avoid the trap of defensive over-explaining, which are classic responses to gaslighting. This efficiency does not only protect you from discussing uncomfortable issues, it also denies toxic people the time and emotional bandwidth they need to pull you into circular, draining arguments, allowing you to reallocate that energy toward other productive activities. Being direct also protects you from discussing uncomfortable issues. For instance, if you are on a date with a potential partner and are just starting to get to know each other, they may ask about your background or your family. You can simply say, "My family situation is complicated, and I'd prefer not to discuss it right now." This statement effectively signals that you have boundaries without dampening the mood. It also shows you are honest about your life. Those with the emotional capacity for empathy will respect your request for patience, while those who are quick to judge or who view your boundaries as a deal breaker will naturally distance themselves. These responses may seem second nature to many, but for the black sheep, who was conditioned in childhood to prioritize others' needs to earn a crumb of validation, this represents a shift in mindset. I encourage you to list down things you are uncomfortable talking about, or things you are uncomfortable doing. Then come up with short and direct responses that can maintain your autonomy and protect your privacy. Second, minimalism fundamentally transforms your financial reality, effectively buying your freedom. When you spend less, you save more, reducing your dependence on the system that uses financial leverage to control you. This independence is a potent tonic for the stress and frustration inherent in scapegoat dynamics. Furthermore, a life of financial responsibility signals to your peers that you are trustworthy. This can help build your reputation that contradicts the narrative of the toxic family. Saving money also provides the capital to invest in your own passion projects. Because toxic families often fail to support your interests, it is imperative that you have options. Minimalism offers a path forward. By spending less, you accumulate the savings necessary to fund your own ideas. Third, being less materialistic insulates you from the sting of favoritism. In toxic families, narcissistic parents often use material gifts or inheritance promises to maintain a hierarchy of control. When you detach your self-worth from material accumulation, these maneuvers lose their power. You may take note of the behavior, but you remain unbothered, continuing to live your own life. This shift in focus is what differentiates you from toxic family members who remain trapped in the cycle. While they build relationships based on transactional gains, you build a life based on who you actually are. This creates a foundation for genuine friendships that provide the moral support and professional networking opportunities often missing in the transactional, abuse-prone environments of the toxic family. Fourth, minimalism improves your creativity by forcing you to do more with less. When your toxic family refuses to support your career or finance your ideas, you are forced to tap into your own ingenuity. You become a self-reliant problem solver, utilizing resources like online tutorials to forge your own path. This stands in stark contrast to family members who are spoon-fed and pampered, leaving them ill-equipped for real-world survival. This adversity becomes your greatest teacher. The scarcity of their support becomes the catalyst for your personal evolution and heightens your ability to navigate crises that would otherwise overwhelm those dependent on the family safety net. Fifth, digital minimalism serves as a necessary sanitation of your virtual footprint. If your cell phone, social media, email, or cloud storage is filled with toxic remnants, unresolved threads, photos that trigger guilt, or digital records of past manipulations, you are carrying the family's presence in your pocket. Digital minimalism requires the discipline to unfriend people that enable intrusion, and unsubscribe from digital spaces where toxic family or toxic people can monitor your habits. When your digital life is minimal, their ability to ping you or monitor your movements vanishes, allowing you to construct an online environment that reflects your current self rather than the version of you that your family tried to project. Sixth, time minimalism allows you to reclaim your calendar from those who view your time as their property. Toxic families often assume you are perpetually available for their demands. By auditing how you spend your hours, you create a buffer zone. You learn to protect your time as your most finite resource, refusing to fill it with obligatory family events. Simultaneously, you must confront the generational ghosts, the inherited heirlooms or decor that serve as anchors to trauma. By removing these physical artifacts, you perform a ritual of separation, explicitly stating that their history is not your future. Seventh, the scapegoat is often conditioned to believe that the only path to safety is through perfection. There is a deeply ingrained belief that if one is just smart enough, successful enough, or good enough, the criticism will finally stop. This perfectionism acts as a heavy, invisible burden, a constant drive to curate a flawless image to prove one's worthiness. Minimalism here means intentionally embracing the concept of good enough by shifting the focus from external approval to internal benchmarking. Instead of chasing a standard of perfection defined by others, progress is measured solely against one's own previous results and history. By anchoring expectations to personal growth trajectories, comparing current actions to past behaviors, the need to be bulletproof in one's career, home, or hobbies fades. When enough is defined by an individual's own internal data, the toxic system is stripped of the yardstick it uses to manufacture failure. This is not about lowering standards. It is about reclaiming the right to evolve at a personal pace. By allowing for human growth measured by private milestones, the manipulative tactic of exploiting the fear of being less than is rendered powerless. Eighth, intentionality in consumption, or input minimalism, is essential for the scapegoat's growth. We often fill our downtime with media or environments that remind us of our trauma. By ruthlessly curating your environment to favor uplifting, educational, or neutral content, you shift your brain from a state of hypervigilance to a state of discovery. When you stop consuming media that echoes the dysfunction of your home, you weaken the neural pathways of that trauma and build new, healthier associations with peace and stability. Ninth, we address the minimalism of identity labels. Toxic families love to assign you a role: the black sheep, the failure, the troubled one. Minimalism allows you to strip these labels away entirely, leaving behind only your own core values. You stop acting in accordance with their definitions and start acting in accordance with your own. By living with fewer expected behaviors, you stop performing for their approval. This is the ultimate freedom. The realization that you are not the character they wrote for you, but the author of your own life. 10th is information dieting. This directly reduces the reach of manipulation. In toxic systems, information is weaponized. Your milestones, struggles, and inner thoughts are potential ammunition for those who wish to maintain the status quo. For instance, if you are planning to move to a new city for a job opportunity, you can wait until the last minute to reveal your plans. By the time you share this information, the window of opportunity for them to manipulate your decision has already closed. Minimalism here acts as a filter, ensuring your life remains your private business rather than shared family property. Ultimately, minimalism for the scapegoat is not about the things you own. It is about the things that own you. It is a revolutionary act of self-reclamation. You are moving from a state of being the one who serves the family to the one who serves their own potential. This is not a selfish endeavor. It is a necessary one. You cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick, and you cannot build a new future while carrying the heavy, rusted luggage of a past that was never truly yours. By adopting these practices, you are effectively resigning from the role of the black sheep. You are turning off the spotlight they tried to pin on you, choosing instead to step into the quiet, powerful shadows of your own making. You are no longer performing for an audience of detractors. You are creating a life that is lean, efficient, and entirely your own. The toxic cycle stops when you decide that you are no longer a participant. The minimalism of your life is the space where your true self finally has the room to breathe, to grow, and to thrive. While we have established the philosophy of minimalism, its practical application is most visible in how you handle direct, real-time pressure from toxic family members. In their eyes, your time, energy, and presence are public property. They rely on you to be a fast responder, someone who immediately jumps to explain, justify, or capitulate when they apply pressure. By adopting a minimalist approach to communication, you shift from being a reactive participant to a firm, unbothered observer. You do not need a paragraph of excuses. You only need a few powerful, neutral phrases that act as circuit breakers for their manipulation. Consider the forced obligation tactic. A toxic family member calls you, demanding you attend a function or perform a favor, framing it as family duty or the right thing to do. They are baiting you into an argument so they can accuse you of being ungrateful or difficult. Instead of launching into a detailed explanation of why you cannot attend, which only gives them a list of reasons they can attempt to dismantle, practice the power of the minimalist pause. Simply reply, "I'll need to think about that and get back to you." This is not a yes, and it is not a no. It is a firm reclamation of your agency. By removing the pressure to provide an immediate answer, you strip them of their ability to force a concession. If they press for an answer now, simply repeat, "I'm not in a position to decide right now. I'll let you know." You are not asking for permission. You are informing them of your process. Then there is the constant intrusion tactic. When they call or text to demand your attention for their drama or to grill you about your personal life, they are banking on your guilt. They want you to feel that if you aren't available, you are failing them. Here, "I am busy right now," is your greatest ally. Do not add, "I'm busy because I'm working on my side hustle," or "I'm busy because I'm tired." Giving them the why gives them a target to mock or dismiss. Simply stating, "I am busy right now," is a complete sentence. If they counter with, "You're always busy," you do not need to argue the point. A calm, "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm unavailable right now," is sufficient. You are training them to understand that your time is no longer subject to their approval. There is also the sneaky truth tactic. When the stress of their demands physically manifests, the tightening in your chest, the spike in your blood pressure, the literal feeling of being sick to your stomach at the mere sight of their name on your phone, you are, by every medical definition, dealing with a somatic reaction to toxicity. When they demand your energy, telling them, "I am feeling unwell, so I won't be able to make it," is not just a convenient excuse. It is a profound, albeit sneaky, reality. You are physically unwell because their toxicity is literally making you ill. Using this phrase acknowledges the boundary your body has already set. You are not lying to get out of a toxic interaction. You are protecting your health from a documented stressor. Furthermore, when they attempt to use emotional leverage, telling you that you are hurting them or being selfish, adopt the minimalist acknowledgement. Reply with, "I hear that you feel that way," and then pivot to silence. Do not try to convince them that you are not being selfish, because that invites them to continue the debate. "I hear that you feel that way" is a neutral acknowledgement that does not constitute an agreement. It ends the loop of the argument because it gives them nowhere to go. You are refusing to dance in the emotional drama they are trying to create. Finally, remember the power of the gray rock in your responses. When you must communicate, keep it brief, boring, and factual. If they ask about your job, do not give them the full story. Say, "Work is fine, thanks for asking," and change the subject. By stripping your communication of the color, the excitement, and the vulnerability they crave, you become uninteresting to them. They cannot feed on a target that gives them nothing to chew on.